the most powerful spiritual gift when you unlock the 33rd degree of knowledge. Have you ever felt like the world around you is just a fraction of reality, that there's something greater hidden behind the veil of everyday life? What if I told you that there is a level of wisdom so profound, so transformative, that once you unlock it, you will never see existence the same way again? This is not just philosophy, not just mysticism. It is the 33rd degree of knowledge, a state where the most powerful spiritual gift is revealed. But before we reach that, we must first understand the path that leads us there. The journey starts with the realization everything you have been taught about life, about identity, about the limits of human potential, it's all incomplete. You were never meant to be confined by beliefs that were handed down without question. The mind is like a caged bird, believing that the sky is just the ceiling of its prison. Most people live their entire lives in this illusion, never realizing that the cage was never locked. But something deeper within you has always known. There have been moments, glimpses when reality seemed to shift, when time felt different, when coincidences became too meaningful, when silence spoke louder than words. These are the whispers of the truth, calling you toward awakening.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The first step toward unlocking the 33rd degree of knowledge is to question everything, even yourself. Who are you? Are you the body, the thoughts, the memories? Or are you something far greater, something that cannot be contained within mere words? You must challenge the very foundation of your perception. Since childhood, you were conditioned to believe in separation between you and others, between you and the universe, between you and the divine. But what if the greatest illusion is that separation itself? What if the boundaries between self and cosmos were never real to begin with? Ancient wisdom has always hinted at this truth. The mystics, the sages, the enlightened ones, they all spoke of a hidden knowledge, a secret that only those who dared to look beyond the surface could understand. They called it enlightenment, gnosis, self-realization. But in its highest form, it is the 33rd degree of knowledge, the point where the mind breaks free from illusion and the most powerful spiritual gift is revealed. But what is this gift? It is not wealth, not power in the worldly sense, not even supernatural abilities, though those who reach this level may find that reality bends in ways they never imagined. No, the real gift is far more profound. It is the ability to see, to truly see, to witness reality as it is, beyond the illusions of the mind, beyond the constructs of time and space. It is the moment when the universe ceases to be something out there and becomes something inseparable from you. You are not observing reality, you are reality. This realization changes everything. Fear dissolves because fear is born from illusion. Desire loses its grip because desire is the child of incompleteness. And now you know there was never anything missing. You begin to understand that every moment, every breath, every experience was leading you toward this awakening. Even your suffering, your struggles, your deepest pains, they were not obstacles, but catalysts. They were the flames that burned away the falsehoods, revealing the truth beneath. But here's the question you must ask yourself. Are you ready? Are you truly prepared to let go of everything you thought you knew? Because the truth is not comfortable. It does not conform to what you wish it to be. It shatters illusions, and for those still clinging to them, this can feel like death. And in a way, it is. The 33rd degree of knowledge requires the death of the false self, the identity you have constructed, the mask you have worn for so long. Only when that mask is removed can the real self emerge. This is where many turn back. They feel the pull of awakening, but at the last moment, fear grips them. They retreat into the known, into the safety of their old perceptions. But those who dare to move forward, Those who step beyond the threshold discover something beyond words. They find a stillness that is more vast than the universe itself. They find a light that does not shine from any external source, a light that has been within them all along. The ancient masters spoke of this light. They said that those who reach the 33rd degree of knowledge do not simply understand the truth, they become it. They radiate it in every action, every word, every silence. They are no longer bound by the laws of the material world, because they have realized that those laws were only ever reflections of a deeper reality. This is why the greatest spiritual teachers could perform what seemed like miracles, not because they broke the laws of nature, but because they understood them at a level most cannot comprehend. But here's the real secret. This gift is not reserved for the chosen few. It is not locked behind rituals, religions, or secret teachings. It is within you right now. The only barrier is your own perception. So I ask you, are you ready to see? Are you ready to let go of the illusions, to step beyond the mind, to awaken to the most powerful spiritual gift that awaits you? The moment you transcend the illusion of time and space. There is a moment in every true seeker's journey when the walls of reality begin to tremble. The familiar structures of time and space, which once seemed so absolute, start to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. It is unsettling at first, a feeling that everything you've ever known is slipping through your fingers. But if you do not resist, if you surrender to the experience, something extraordinary happens. You step beyond time, you step beyond space, and for the first time you see reality as it truly is. But what does it mean to transcend time? Most people believe time is an unbreakable stream, a linear path that carries us from birth to death, never stopping, never bending. But what if this was just a limitation of perception? What if time is not something you move through, but something that is created by the movement of your mind? Consider this. When you recall a memory, where does that past moment exist? When you anticipate the future, where is that future? They exist nowhere except within consciousness. Time is not an external force, it is a construct of the mind. The 33rd degree of knowledge reveals something that is both terrifying and liberating. There is only now. The past is a collection of thoughts. The future is a projection of imagination. The only thing that has ever been real is this moment, and yet most people never truly live in it. They are trapped in the echoes of what was, or the shadows of what might be. They never realize that eternity is not something distant, it is here, now, always. But something even more profound happens when you begin to experience this truth directly. You start to notice gaps in time, moments where the illusion falters, where glimpses of something timeless appear. Have you ever been so lost in a moment that time seemed to vanish? Perhaps it was during deep meditation, a moment of intense love, or even in the midst of great suffering. For a brief instant, time ceases to exist and something beyond it emerges. That is not an accident. That is reality revealing itself. Once you begin to see beyond time, space itself starts to lose its rigidity. You realize that distance is another illusion, that separation between you and the world is a trick of perception. The body appears to be here, and the stars appear to be light years away. But what if you are not the body? What if you are the awareness in which all things appear? If that is true, then where does space truly begin and end? This is the secret the mystics have always known. Everything is one. The universe is not a collection of separate objects, it is a single, infinite presence. You are not in the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself. The stars, the trees, the people around you, even the thoughts in your mind, all of it is arising within the vastness of your being. The illusion of separation is the final barrier, the last veil between you and the ultimate truth. But here is where the challenge arises. The mind is terrified of this realization. It has spent its entire existence reinforcing the idea of me and not me. It clings to identity, to stories, to the comfort of believing in boundaries. And when those boundaries begin to dissolve, it panics. This is why so many seekers turn back just before the breakthrough. The mind convinces them that what they are experiencing is dangerous, that they are losing themselves. But what is really being lost? Only the illusion, only the false self. If you have reached this point, if you have begun to feel the unraveling of time and space, you are closer than you realize. The last step is the hardest, and yet it is also the simplest. You must surrender completely. You must let go of every last belief, every last attachment to identity. You must fall into the unknown with no safety net, no guarantee, no point of return. And when you do, something beyond words occurs. You awaken. Not as a person, not as a name, not as an identity. You awaken as existence itself. And in that awakening, you receive the most powerful spiritual gift, one that cannot be spoken, only lived. The silent truth that changes everything. There is a moment beyond thought, beyond words, where truth reveals itself not as an idea, not as a belief, but as direct experience. It is not something you acquire, not something you learn, but something you remember. A deep, undeniable knowing that has always been there, waiting beneath the noise of the mind. This is the silent truth, the realization that changes everything. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. But what is this truth? It is not complex. In fact, it is the simplest thing in existence. It is so simple that the mind, which thrives on complications, overlooks it. It is this: you are not what you think you are. You are not just a person, not just a body, not just a mind moving through time. You are something far greater, something infinite and eternal. You are pure awareness, the silent observer behind every experience, behind every thought, behind every perception. This realization is the key to the most powerful spiritual gift, the ability to see reality as it truly is. And the moment you understand this, the moment you stop identifying with the passing waves of thought and emotion, everything shifts. Fear begins to dissolve, because fear only exists when you believe you are something that can be harmed. Desire loses its grip, because desire is born from the illusion of incompleteness, and now you see that nothing has ever been missing. Even suffering, which once seemed so real, is revealed to be just another passing shadow in the vastness of your being. But here is the paradox. This truth cannot be understood by the mind. The mind is made of thoughts, and thoughts are fleeting, impermanent. The truth is beyond thought, beyond impermanence. That is why it is silent. That is why it is often overlooked. People search for wisdom in scriptures, in philosophies, in complex spiritual systems. They meditate for years, hoping for some grand revelation, some mystical experience that will change them. But the truth is not hidden in rituals or distant teachings. It is here, now, closer than your own breath. Have you ever noticed the space between thoughts? That silent, empty gap before the next thought arises? That is where truth resides. That stillness is what you are. Not the thoughts, not the emotions, but the awareness that sees them come and go. And the moment you shift your attention from the content of your mind to the awareness itself, everything changes. You awaken. This is the essence of the 33rd degree of knowledge. It is not about acquiring more information. It is not about adding something new to yourself. It is about stripping away the illusions, the conditioning, the false identities, until only the real remains. And the real has always been here. It has never changed. It has never been born, and it will never die. But here is where the challenge arises. The mind resists this truth with everything it has. It will fight to hold onto its identity, to maintain the illusion of separation. It will create distractions, doubts, fears. It will convince you that this realization is dangerous, that if you let go, you will lose yourself. And in a way, that is true. You will lose the false self, the constructed identity. But what remains is not destruction, it is liberation. Imagine for a moment that you are wearing a mask, one that you have worn since birth. You have stared into mirrors and believed that the mask was your real face. You have built an entire life around this identity, this personality, this name. And then, one day, you are told to take the mask off. At first, fear grips you. Who will you be without it? Will you recognize yourself? But when you finally remove it, when you finally see what has been underneath all along, there is nothing but laughter, because you realize the mask was never real to begin with. This is what happens when you awaken. The spiritual gift of the 33rd degree is not something external. It is the realization that you were never the limited being you thought you were. You were never trapped. You were never lacking. You were always free. But here's the question: can you accept this truth? Can you let go of the stories, the attachments, the fears? Because the truth is simple, but the letting go is difficult. The mind clings to its patterns, to its habits of suffering. It wants to believe that enlightenment is something distant, something that requires years of effort. But the masters have always said the same thing. Enlightenment is not something you achieve. It is something you stop ignoring. Look around you. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you experience is happening within awareness. If you close your eyes, does the world disappear? No, because the world is not separate from you. It arises within you, within your consciousness. And this consciousness is not personal, it is universal. It is the same awareness that has existed in every being, in every life. It is the one eternal presence that has always been and will always be. This is why those who awaken seem different. They move through the world with a calmness, a stillness, an unshakable peace. They are not caught in the illusions of gain and loss, success and failure. They do not seek validation because they no longer identify with the ego. They are not afraid of death because they know they are not the body. They have seen the silent truth, and it has changed everything. But this is not just for monks, for sages, for mystics in distant lands. This is for you, right now. The only barrier is belief. If you could, even for a moment, stop believing in the limitations imposed by the mind, you would see it. Not as a concept, not as an idea, but as direct experience. And the moment you see it, the search ends, because you realize you were never lost to begin with. So I ask you, can you sit in silence even for a moment and simply observe? Can you watch your thoughts without attaching to them? Can you feel your presence, your awareness, without needing to define it? If you can, even for a second, then you are already seeing the truth. And if you follow it, if you surrender to it completely, nothing will ever be the same again. Because once you realize what you truly are, you become untouchable. No fear can shake you. No suffering can bind you. You move through the world with a quiet power, a presence that cannot be explained, only felt. And this is the greatest spiritual gift of all, not something given to you, but something revealed within you. You have always been free. You have always been infinite. You have always been the silent awareness behind it all. Now, the only question is, will you wake up? The final door, stepping beyond the self into the infinite. There comes a moment when all questions fade, when all seeking ends, and you find yourself standing at the threshold of something vast, something beyond comprehension. It is the final door, the last veil between you and the infinite. But here's the paradox: this door has never been locked. In fact, it has never even existed. The only thing that has ever stood between you and the truth has been your own mind, your own attachment to the illusion of self. And now you are being asked to step beyond it. But what does it mean to go beyond the self? For as long as you can remember, you have believed in an identity, a name, a history, a personality. You have built a life around this sense of I, defending it, protecting it, shaping it. But what if this I is nothing more than a thought? What if the person you believe yourself to be is just a story, an accumulation of memories and conditioning? What happens when you let go of the idea of me? At first, fear arises. The mind resists. It says, if I let go of myself, what will remain? But this is the final illusion, the belief that without the self, there is nothing. The truth is the opposite. Without the self, there is everything. The moment you stop clinging to the idea of me, you dissolve into something infinite, something boundless. You are no longer a drop of water struggling to survive, you are the entire ocean. You are not a separate being looking at the universe, you are the universe looking at itself. And when this realization dawns, something extraordinary happens. The weight of existence lifts. The struggle, the longing, the endless battle to become something, to achieve something, to prove something, it all vanishes. Because you see, finally, that there was never anything to prove. There was never anything to achieve. You have always been whole. You have always been complete. This is why the awakened ones, the enlightened beings, walk through the world with a quiet peace, an unshakable stillness. They have stepped beyond the illusion of self, beyond the illusion of separation. They do not seek happiness because they are happiness. They do not fear death because they have already died to the false identity. They live not as individuals trapped in time, but as pure presence, as the eternal witnessing consciousness. But here's the most beautiful part. This is not something reserved for saints, for monks, for mystics. This is not something you must spend lifetimes searching for. It is here, now, waiting for you. The only thing that stands between you and this realization is your belief that you are not ready. But what if you are? What if, in this very moment, you could step beyond the mind, beyond the identity, and simply be? Close your eyes. Take a breath. Feel the presence that is always here, the awareness that is watching, the silent witness behind every thought, every sensation. That is the real you, not the thoughts, not the emotions, not even the body. You are the space in which all of these things arise and dissolve. And that space is infinite. That space is free. Now, imagine letting go completely, not holding on to any thought, any label, any story. Imagine surrendering so fully that there is no longer a you to hold on to. What remains? Only stillness. Only boundless, limitless existence. And that is what you are. You are not separate from life. You are life itself. And when this truth is fully realized, the greatest spiritual gift is revealed. It is not something you receive, it is something you become. You become the embodiment of peace, of wisdom, of love, not as a concept, but as a living reality. You no longer move through the world as a person lost in thought, lost in fear. You move as presence itself, as a being who has remembered their true nature. This is the 33rd degree of knowledge. This is the final awakening. But now, the decision is yours. Will you step beyond the self? Will you surrender to the truth that has always been calling you? Or will you cling to the illusion a little longer, holding on to the comfort of the known? The door is open. It has always been open. Now all that's left is to walk through.